everyone. Are you able to hear me? Is the first hurdle done? Nice. Welcome to our speech here. We today are going to be talking about living the modern learning experience. As I've been having a little walk around today, I see it's a very common tagline, right? There's a few different vendors here who are here to talk about it, and certainly it's a subject for today. So we know that there's something different going on. We need to relate to our learners in a way which is reflective of our marketplace. Now, I'm Sarah Spence, I'm a solution consultant, and I'm going to be supporting Chris, my lovely colleague here, in having a look about what this is, the meaning of this modern learning experience, how this is reflected in both how a business must respond to a learner's needs and how a learner might want to grow within their own professional journey. Chris.
Great. Thank you, Sarah. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay. So welcome, thanks for joining our session. So I'm Chris Giddings from the Content Services team here at Cornerstone. My background is almost now 10 years in the learning space, just over 2 years at Cornerstone. So as Sarah said today, we're going to be talking you through our perspective of the modern learning experience. We're going to break today's session down into 3 key areas. So firstly, we're going to be sharing what's our perspective, what's our opinion, what are we seeing across our clients and general trends. I'm going to then hand over to Sarah, where she's going to be taking through a live demo of the Cornerstone Learning platform. What are some of the newest functionalities? What does that mean for a learning team? And what does that mean for an end user? And then thirdly, we'll loop back round to bring you up to date in terms of what are we doing in the content space. So not only are we a platform provider with learning as part of our broader suite, but we also have a strong content offering, which has really evolved, really grown over the past couple of years since I've been at the business, seeing some really exciting things happen. Okay, so as we kick things off, one of the biggest, I think, things I've noticed since I've been at Cornerstone has been the shift in trend. And this falls really into a couple of areas. So Cornerstone now has, over 3,500 clients, 40 million users on the system globally. And we now have around 1,300 clients that access content via our platform as well. So we feel that we're in a very strong position now where we can share our opinion, our insight, and what our perspective currently looks like, both now and obviously moving forward. So we're seeing our clients in a huge pace of change right now in terms of business models, disruption, reskilling users, huge trends that are going on and very, very quickly there as well. So some of the key trends that we've seen right now have been around that whole user journey. So where we've seen this more kind of push-pull type swap from a learning team, it's now much more focused on the user experience. So surfacing modern, relevant content that users can access, whether they are mobile, at their desktop, on the move, at home, wherever they are. It's making that readily available. Also, I think user-centric is probably one of the biggest changes that we've seen in terms of that user journey, but we've also now seen in terms of what that journey looks like around the content side. It's much more now around all of these different kind of blends of content, thinking about your overall ecosystem and ultimately having that all in one place so it's easy for the business to manage, but also for the users to find the types of content that they're looking for. And so to do that, we talk a lot around content is king. I've seen in my 2 years at Cornerstone that content has become absolutely integral to pretty much all the conversations that we have. And for our clients, curation has now been one of the highest priorities. How do you manage what is in your catalog? What's popular? What's so popular? What's now outdated? Is it mobile enabled? There's a huge amount of work that typically needs to go into that, and we're trying to really help simplify that model for our clients. And when you look at the kind of statistics around how much of a priority upskilling, reskilling now is, if we look at just digitization, it's a huge focus for all organizations. One interesting thing that I've absolutely seen has been anticipating employee needs. I think it's always really interesting to hear the perspective from a learning team as to what they think their users will need, But also, actually, when you dig into the data of then what is being utilized, it can be very, very different. So keeping an open mind as to what that catalog can look like. A huge number of our clients, that we see have an existing catalog, and it's almost like that bathtub or that funnel that's been topped up and topped up and topped up, but nothing's ever really been kind of taken out. So again, we help our clients to really identify what does good content look like, what is that key kind of criteria, and typically, no surprise that micro-learning is really helping to support that. Everyone is short on time. We still use that statistic that around 22 minutes per week is the average time that people have to learn. So short-form learning that's accessible, it's relevant, it's engaging, and it doesn't only engage learners in the immediate, but it also keeps them coming back for more. And the key role here, I think, that I've really seen is that learning teams have this curation role now, but also becoming marketeers. So they have to let people know about the content that's available. You have to make that connection back to your users. Why is it of value, and how are they going to use it? So for us, very simply, in the here and now, content is at the absolute heart of any talent management strategy. So whether that is focusing around key initiatives on growth, development, increasing retention, typically content will have some part of it. And Cornerstone is very well played here to be complementing the typical content you would already be having in your catalog, whether that be product specific, compliance, regulatory. We're here to support what that overall journey would then look like and entail. And we're still hearing the same challenges when we're engaging with our clients. It's how do you keep your content library up to date? How do you keep it relevant? How do you keep it engaging enough that your users will keep coming back and have that continuous learning journey? Vendor management, we know that the marketplace is huge for content, but how do you surface the best providers that are going to work seamlessly with your platform? How do you manage all those discussions? It can be a huge piece of work, especially when we recognize the time that learning teams is becoming more and more limited. And we're also then seeing that shift, as we say, around how users are actually consuming content. If we think, outside of the workplace, it's all around subscriptions, it's combinations of user experience and great product. It's really about that combination. So Sarah's going to be talking to you a little bit more around how the Cornerstone platform surfaces that engaging, modern, relevant content through things like the machine learning functionality and carousels. And that also then ties into the curation side as well. So I see this really as twofold. You have your machine learning, it's going to surface suggested content based on your role, your preferences, those kinds of things. But also the role for learning teams is still to do some curation as well, to signpost towards hot topics, things that are of trend, things that are of real interest to you as an organization there as well. And as Sarah's going to be showing you, we talked a lot over the past couple of years around this power of three. So what still makes Cornerstone absolutely solid in what we're doing is that we're now into our 20th year as an LMS provider. We still have the same founder, the same CEO, the ethos is exactly the same. And where it's then really evolved has been bringing in a learning experience platform to enhance that journey. So we've moved away from all the traditional things that an LMS will do. Yep, we're still doing that, but from that modern user experience, the content's all in one place. It's a seamless journey. You're not dipping out to different platforms for different content. You have the power of the machine learning, the carousels, everything that Sarah's going to be showing you. But from a business perspective as well, pretty much all my clients are saying to me, I want reporting data that's in one place so I can see what people are accessing. And I think that's what makes it then really interesting around building a content strategy, is that you can focus on what are people accessing, when, what are the types of trends, hot topics, and actually that can be quite different to those things that you're pushing out and recommending to the business there as well. And when it comes to then the content itself, absolute trends, we are seeing around really three areas that our clients will look for when we're having these discussions on content. It's typically around the compliance and regulatory. That's never going to change. It's not going to go away. It's here to stay. Secondly, around the development. So less conversations around your soft skills, business skills, that kind of thing. It's actually how are organizations reskilling people. And we're seeing that people want to be able to move roles within an organization. Businesses and organizations love that because you retain your talent, but people are just moving around. And then the third one is going to be your transformation. So this is all around more digital technologies, modern ways of working. How are you keeping your organization forward thinking? So there's typically 3 areas that we would be discussing with our clients. It comes across from all the different industries, the different organizations we work with, and some of those typical kind of themes in there would be around diversity inclusion. You still have your core themes like leadership, management, project management, those kinds of things. But you start to see more around mindfulness, diversity and inclusion. Things like diversity and inclusion are moving away from your more, let's say, traditional approach to regulatory and compliance. It's how do you start to actually change behaviours in the workplace and take a more modern and interesting approach.
Absolutely. And if we think about these types of skills, I mean, Chris started off talking about our messaging in general in Cornerstone, which is all about this is a skills marketplace now. We need to move away from, of course, the more traditional mindset of I am a business, my employees must be compliant in health and safety once a year, and much more to enabling people to get their skill set up and to be able to be used across our organization. How do we get our return on investment? Well, have a happy demographic who are able to apply their skill set in lots of different ways. What I'm going to do now, thank you very much, Chris.
Thanks,
what I'm going to do now is to show you how we utilize all of this, including the content, within a Cornerstone system. So I'm going to come away from the presentation just for a moment and dip into, this is George. Now, George is, of course, one of our happy employees, and when we start looking at how we marry together the rhetoric with the delivery of these concepts, this is when we start looking at Cornerstone's Learning Home. From here, George can log into his account. Now, helpfully, anyone, and I see some familiar faces who have come and had demos in the past before, so this might seem familiar. This is our Learning Home, and it's our hub for any employee. As I come in here, I am automatically targeted with the correct learning based on my role, my position. The system has an engine in the background. Chris mentioned we've been in the business since 1999, so that compliance learning is de facto in Cornerstone. We can target the appropriate learning to the appropriate employee. It will automatically turn up. We recognize new starters, movers, and we'll have the right content for the right person. That's all very well and good. How do we then facilitate people going from where they are to where they want to be? That's where this experience element really comes into play. As George logs into the system, he may log in because he's been reminded by our automatic reminders. Let's be honest, are everyone going to be coming in every single second of the day? If we have 22 minutes to do our learning per week, then let's try and break down any barriers, shall we, in terms of getting people into the system. We can remind them if any training is due. We can send them out topical newsletters, which are branded according to your organization to get people's interest to going back in and engaging with learning. Now, as George goes through his life in the organization, he's able to come in and actually indicate, where is it that I really want to go? Am I now interested in, for example, communication? Do I want to move towards team management? How do I want to move? I can actually indicate that as an employee. Now, this I can change at any point. The power is at my fingertips to indicate to the business immediately where my personal interest lies. So not only does the business get to push out anything that's compulsory, I then start feeding into it. So we're marrying together both the personal and the business needs. So we're starting to build more of a talent culture within the business. As I save my new preferences, the system automatically reacts. In the background, we've got very significant AI structure. So our machine learning recommendations, they're not Netflix. I hear this a million times during the day. It's not based on what I completed yesterday. It's based on, who am I in my business? What are my learning needs? What's my position, my location? What grade am I in? What's my learning preferences? What have I recently rated highly? What was the outcome of my last competency score? Based on all this information, we start to spider graph all of this in, and the recommendations that will come through from George are so much more informed than if I watched Spider-Man 2 yesterday, I get Spider-Man 3 in my recommendations today. As I have a look through here, you can see top picks for George. We can also have different AI recommendations based on my position, for example. I know that if somebody else who is in exactly the same role, solution consultancy, is doing a leadership course, I'm probably going to want to nominate myself onto that as well. I can have a look through here. Talking about our learning teams now being marketeers, we have the ability for them to customize these banners to lead us into, for example, looking at different types of content and engaging with different programs that you're publishing. If I want to, let's say I'm very interested in this online course, but unfortunately I've got no more time. I might, however, be going home on the bus on the way home from work. Now, I can very simply save this for later, and then from my mobile phone app, I can launch the content directly. There is a real-time feed coming through, so if I am on the bus on the way home from work, I might not have connectivity, of course, but we can download these, complete them offline, and the system will reconnect in for me. In Blue Peter fashion, this is an example. There's something I made earlier. This is an example of our learner app. Now, as you see, it fully replicates my laptop version, my desktop version. I can see my recommendations. I can add something to save for later. I can view the details associated with it. Other carousels, I can pick up where I left off in the office. I can see what I have deliberately saved for later for doing on the bus on the way home. I can launch my content. I can request content from here. I can download it locally. As I go through, of course, this is actually from one of our partners, SkillPill, our content partners that Chris went through a little bit earlier. You can launch it. All of this is mobile enabled. You can also, of course, have your own mobile-enabled content that you've been creating within your own L&D team, or you may have other vendors. Cornerstone is agnostic. You essentially give everyone the ability to engage, break down any barriers. The whole point of a modern learning experience is making content available and making it accessible when people have the time to do it, stopping anything from getting in their way. I can still see what's on my training record to allow me to prioritize what I do. I can see any training that's been completed, and I can search based on my interests. So just in the same way that I can do it from my desktop, it's the power in the palm of my hand. So this has all been about how I can essentially engage with learning. So part of it being new and responsive and modern is all about how easily I can work from this and really gain that insight and understanding. Now the other side must be, how can I really prioritize and understand my own development from this? And there is a role in the organization, there is a role in terms of contextualizing learning that can be done. Rather than having an individual searching for hours for content that interests them, what you might choose to do within a business is create playlists. Much like the Spotify, LinkedIn influencer motif, I can go ahead and as a business, I can publish a playlist. Now, our playlists, if you can still hear me, our playlists here allow for the ability for, it might be your learning team, or where we're seeing this working fantastically from a business perspective, anyone who is a subject matter expert. If I, in the solution consulting team, if my director was to publish a list of online courses or a list of face-to-face sessions or even a mixture, a blended learning package, telling me how did I get to where I am today, I'm not going to joke about it. I'd definitely be interested in watching that. Now, I've got the ability to search for this. Now, it's quite nice in terms of reducing the amount of stress on your admin team to give the power back to the business, to the faculties, the departments, people who are more in touch with the topic, perhaps. While you get on with the very important work of creating the catalogue, uploading it, why don't you let someone who is a specialist in the area publish and amend with the latest, most up-to-minute information on any topic? Now, going on with that, Cornerstone wants to support this idea of relevancy, of getting rid of redundancy. And so one thing that we have been doing is collaborating with different types of organizations, and I think one of the most significant ones is this is the Institute for the Future recognizes Cornerstone as one of this next generation ways to be able to support the modern learning experience. We are using our platform to be able to send out messaging of how can we upskill our own employees to give them the skills they need to be able to work on not a career ladder, a career lattice. How can we move? How can we enable them to be really productive? Now, if I go in here and look at just one of the examples, now you would have this available to purchase if it was interest to you. If I go in for one of the examples, they've worked with us to create the content. Here we're talking about make yourself known, giving people the skills to promote themselves and confidence to do so. As just like in Spotify, you can imagine we have the full description. We can understand what these different types of courses are. You can justify each course. I can launch them directly from here. Of course, any progress we make on these online courses will all marry up with your transcripts, so reporting comes from the same area. Now, what's beautiful about this is that once these the Institute for the Future playlists are in your repository, you can actually go in and edit them. So as more AI articles are published, as you have a specialist in your team, they can collaborate with this and add in maybe an article, a white paper. You can augment it with external content. This external content can then be part of the lexicon that you can promote to your staff, making it relevant, making them understand the need and significance of the learning. My 22 minutes a week wants to go towards something that is truly interesting for me. Now, as I see a piece of learning that is really interesting for my needs, not only is it here, I'm going to be notified of any changes. So as Bob, who is my AI futurist in my team, adds in external content or articles, I'm going to get a notification. I don't have to log in every day. This system's going to drag me back in by telling me interesting stuff is happening. Not only that, I don't have to learn about it on my own. I can ask questions. I have this ability for this to be shared. And critically, where do we share it into? We share it into what we call our community structure. Communities in Cornerstone facilitate this social collaborative learning experience. So as I come in here, your content community, you have your moderators, your topic matter experts, it might be Chris in this scenario, where people can come in, ask questions about what they have been seeing, see other people who are interested in this. You can add in people who are experts. So if I am interested in how to upskill myself, how to become someone who's very flexible for the skills industry, I know who I can go to. Not only do we have this, but it's so responsive. As I follow a community, same again, it will produce for me a branded newsletter. I can roll it up so you don't have those annoying every single minute of the day emails notifying me someone's replied to a question. I can have once a week a nice prioritized email welcoming me back into my community and telling me the highlights over that period of time. As I go through, I can look at the topics that have been published. So, Institute for the Future, I can actually ask an experienced person a question. I can like their answer, I can add in comments, and all of this can come through automatically to my co-collaborators or to my teams. So from here, we are building up a shared understanding, not only of the training that has been provided, but how I make it significant for myself and how it can help me to change my behavior. If you'll notice, the other thing that it allows me to do is provide a searchable dynamic database. As all my topics are answered, as all my questions go forward, and my topic matter experts come back to me, if I search, it's going to show me all the posts that are related to anything that I come up with, effectiveness, team, skills. Therefore, if I need a pinpoint accuracy, if I need someone to come back with something quickly, instead of going to the learning team, I now have a free-to-use database. Now, let's say I make the transition. I have done my significant learning. I've been updating my skill set. Now, naturally, within the business, we want to encourage that. What might we do? Not only can I then become train the trainer, I might then want to give back this information to close the loop and actually allow people to learn from me. We have a brand new tool in Cornerstone, and those of you that have seen it before, I'm not sure you'll have seen Cornerstone Create. This is one of our newest developments, and we're very excited about it. From here, not only am I able to see content that has been created by my team and shared with me, but as a topic matter expert, I can make amendments, I can personalize it, I can localize it according to my team. If you have a multi-location organization or even multinational, I might need to change some of it for cultural compassion. I might want to update and add something for a yearly basis. I can change names. I can see content that has been published. Grovo is actually one of our content partners. They can populate with their own content if you want, and you can go straight away. Instead of publishing it as is, you can brand it according to your organization, or even according to the faculty, the department, if you so wish to. As I come through this, if I want to duplicate it, I can. If I have a look at one that I have in Blue Peter style touched rather recently, I can open it up, and you see it gives me the ability to see the micro-learning. Micro-learning here is the key word, or 2 words, the key phrase. And what I want to be able to do is a rapid transfer of skills. 22 minutes, keep that in mind. Make it mobile first, make it accessible, make it interesting. That's exactly what Cornerstone Create is going to be able to do for you. As I open this up, you'll see that I've got it lovely branded with our own logo. You can populate your own logo here as a template, and it will automatically brand everything that you create with your own standard hex codes, logos, font, whatever you would need. Now, if you allow your topic matter experts to come in and make amendments, it's so simple and intuitive. I mean, I've never been officially trained on this, so hopefully it doesn't show too much. But I can come in, I can change color, I can add different images, I can change the text. Working with a... They always say never type in demos, you'll misspell something, but it worked. I can add voiceovers, for example. The whole point is being able to collaborate with my team, edit and publish as quickly as possible, and being able to really glean the reactive, last-minute, up-to-date information from the people who are best placed to deliver it to the business. As I go forward, it's not just about being able to add in text or images. I have the ability to embed documents, embed videos running in the background. I can ask questions. I can do whatever you need to do within a SCORM package in order to make this a really responsive experience for your employees. Keep in mind, it can come populated with a Grovo library, or it can be entirely at the discretion of your L&D team, populating in the background some standard presentations, and then each of your, perhaps, departments might get a license to update and use it for personalization. As I get ready to do it, brilliantly, I can share it within my team. So if I am just a subject matter expert, perhaps I do need to send it to my L&D team just to make sure that we're on the same level. I can share the draft, that they can go in and check it before the final publication. This is all about how to take the needs that we all have for compliance and marrying it together with how to have a truly dynamic, up-to-date and interested employee team. All the way from pushing out content for them choosing their own, and then finally becoming a contributor to the business. Now, I'm going to pass you back to Chris, really, to finish this off. Thank you very much.
Sure.
And here you are, dear.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. Okay, so for the final part of today's session, and I'm conscious we're almost at the end, so we'll go quick. I thought it'd be a good opportunity to sort of bring you up to speed with what a Cornerstone doing in the content space specifically. So our model within the last 18 months, 2 years, has really shifted as we start to head towards more of a subscription-led approach to content. And that's made up of 4 really important areas. So why we're doing this is that with the volume of clients we work with, we're seeing those same trends in pretty much all conversations that we have. So it makes sense for us to actually start curating some of these packages from leading partners. We work with 37 global content partners. We've built out a whole curation team, so we can actually start to curate content ourselves, saving our clients time, effort, resource when it comes to actually finding the right content. We can then focus in on specific hot topics. So what are our clients asking for? What are the big trends? What are the big needs that our clients are looking for? And ensuring they are top quality. So again, you can buy with assurance that any content you're accessing is all mobile enabled. It works seamlessly with the platform. It's got that user experience. So we do all of that. And ultimately then, as Sarah has just shown you, it's all powered by the Cornerstone platform with the functionality of LMS and LXP all in one place. So where we're now at in terms of our model, this is a really exciting time for us. So we acquired one of our content partners in November of last year, Grovo, that Sarah mentioned, giving our clients the opportunity to access not only off-the-shelf content, but also customize that through the Create tool. We're now much more switching towards a partner and publish model. So we are effectively reselling content from 37 content providers. You can see a number of these guys here today, Skillpill, Seagoss, Filtered. But we've also now built out this Cornerstone Studios. So we can actually start to produce and create our own content in-house. What that means is, as we tie that in with our new subscription approach, is that we can curate and bring together the best content from off the shelf, created ourselves, published, and it's expertly then curated into these subscription models. And if we just take a little bit of a deeper dive, just very briefly, into the Cornerstone Studios side, as we say, we've got that existing Grovo catalog as part of our one of many providers. We've got this original, so yes, we have shamefully stolen that idea from Netflix. It works so well, so why wouldn't we? So then we can really focus in on hot topics. We're going to be looking at things like a Generation Z package that is purely focused towards a specific audience in a specific style of learning. And then we also have by Cornerstone. So this is going to be where we're partnering with third parties like Sandler. So in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be launching our Sandler sales micro-learning package. Very, very unique as part of that roadmap. We have the subscription models expertly curated, and there's a huge amount of thought that's gone into these to ensure they are forward-thinking, in line with what our clients are saying. We're looking at the huge, huge amounts of data that we have across our 40 million users, so that again, those packages and subscriptions that we're building out, they are expertly curated and very forward-thinking. And we've moved away absolutely from these more static catalogs. So these subscription models are all going to be updated on a quarterly basis. Some of the initial subscription models that we've already launched and we now have available are professional skills. So again, that's around that upskilling, reskilling approach. Digital skills, again, all around that digitization, get my words in. Modern compliance, and as I say, in the next 2 weeks, we're going to be launching a leadership and management package. We'll have the Sandler sales package there as well. All of these are made up of a whole range of providers. Professional skills, as an example, has 10 different content partners curated in there as well. So ever evolving, all mobile enabled, absolute designed to be plug and play solution as well. Sarah touched on the playlist functionality. So with all of our subscription models, there will be pre-curated playlists that are built in. So that way our clients have almost like a foundation of curated content they can start using. You can add your own content, you can add anything that sits in your catalog already, but also you can tag third-party external content, an event like today. Our model, very simply, is to help simplify the content process and journey for our clients, helping you build out a content strategy, really getting people engaged. We are acting on behalf of, as I say, these 37 content providers that we work with. And one of the key things is that you don't have to worry about any of that loading, hosting, integration, the headache, the boring stuff that no one wants to be doing. We do all of that for you free of charge. So all of your content is accessed in one place, in one journey, very straightforward, and as Sarah's shown you in the demo there as well. So our view is really to help drive engagement, drive adoption, tie it back to those initiatives that you're really trying to shift as an organization, build learning culture. It's that full circle, all services included approach. And finally, one of our newest additions to our team is, we refer to them as our CCX team. So again, we know from our experience that just putting content on the shelves is never enough anymore. It's got to be that kind of marketeer approach that we spoke around earlier. But you would now have assigned resource who are going to help you through that implementation. They're going to help you launch the content, ensure you have the right kind of messaging, the right kind of reporting, and then having those kind of insights from the data. So making sense of those trends. What are people using? When is it most popular? All of those good things. And then help you build out campaigns, marketing to raise that awareness, tie it back to the users as to why they should be looking at that content in the first place. And so, the summary for today, Sarah and I put together some key points that we think are probably our hot topics, key takeaway things. So the first being surface relevant, engaging content. Get your people engaged, not only in the short term, but think around that mid and long term journey. And this is where we see that a single catalog approach just is no longer the best way to go. Create a great user experience. Sarah's shown exactly how we can help do that through searching for content, the machine learning, all of that functionality in one place. Learning in the flow of work. Again, learning and training is no longer that thing you save to the end of the week. You do it at 4:30 if you've got time. It's built into your everyday life. You do it as you go. You learn as you go, on demand, but you still have that more structured kind of programs as well. One size doesn't fit all. So again, we are seeing a huge amount of feedback from our clients that if you want to engage your workforce, you've got to think about your audience from your grads, your entry level, all the way through to your senior managers or even a director. Everyone in between is going to have quite different needs and favorite sort of styles of learning. And this is where we see that a multimodal catalog that's engaging and it evolves really helps to drive that engagement. Becoming marketeers, make users aware of the content you've got, otherwise they'll never know it's there, it won't get used, it won't be underutilized, and be well informed. So as I say, look at the data, what are the trends, what are you seeing, build that into your campaigns and your ongoing usage, and that will all in turn drive that continual engagement. Whew. So at 110 miles an hour, we get to the final slide, so thank you everybody for joining today's session. And the shameless plug that we are right here on stand 16. Yeah. So there's no excuse not to be able to find us. If you bring over your business card, pop it in the jar on the table. We're going to be doing 2 draws throughout the day where you can win a pair of Apple AirPods. Sarah's going to be demoing. I'll be talking more around content. So if you would like to find out more, please come and see us. And thank you for joining today's session.
Thank you.
Thank you.